Our fish out to Diversion Reservoir was exactly how we had feared and how we had hoped. The feared part concerns the access via 4 Bay Road. The hoped part, blissful fishing, once there. The access over 17 to 20 kilometers of truly ugly, ill-maintained logging road was more than we had feared. For one thing, it was in the clag, high fog or low clouds. In addition, our access met with a big barrier of huge boulders, put there to prevent large trucks from entering the narrow and unstable gravel road. This obviously to prevent even more of the road from disappearing down the very steep slope. Luckily, all 4 of our trucks managed to pass the barrier without a scratch. Luckily for me, Dean had for the second time offered to use his truck for the 2 of us and do the driving. This second demonstration of Dean's driving on such roads convinced me that negotiating this kind of roads requires 1, a patient mind, concentrated on the road and its potholes, not distracted by a hope for a glimpse of a bear or a deer. Second, love of your car or truck. Third, love of driving. And fourth, a fair amount of automechanical knowledge. Dean has it all, while I have none of it. Therefore, I was infinitely grateful of Dean's offer and another opportunity to learn from him. We also had reason to hail Brian's and Dean's decision to move the fish out from the Sunday of the previous holiday weekend to this Saturday. This allowed us to enjoy even less crowded premises. We met only a small company of campers at the lake access, and so were able to launch our gear without much delay. By 10 a.m., 3 hours after our meet in Souk, we were on the water. Having dealt with what we had feared for, we were now able to indulge in what we had hoped for. The sun had burned off the fog. The serene tranquility of the ride over the mirror-like water among the willows and second-growth forest, enveloped by an ample soundscape of birdsong, replaced the rattle and shakes of the bumpy road. We had reached our fishing paradise. Dean and I trolled up towards the mouths of Bear Creek and Jordan River. Trolling leech patterns, we had nibbles every few seconds in some places. Dean brought several good fish to the boat, while I only started netting fish after I exchanged my woolly bugger for a Doc Spratly. Perhaps the large leech patterns are too large for the fish up here. Eventually we got up as far as Jordan River Falls. As the day wore on, around 11 in the morning, we observed increasing surface feeding activity. So we switched to dry flies, and sure enough, we had a take on practically every cast. Often as soon as the fly hit the water. While we caught few fish in this manner, we were entertained by eager fish take a dry fly, spit it out, pursue it further, take it again, and repeat the whole thing once more. At one time, Dean and I had inadvertently cast simultaneously and got our tom-thumbs tangled. Dean kindly got hold of the mess and untangled it. He threw my freed-up fly overboard, and immediately a nice trout gobbled it up, not more than a foot from the gunnels. While it took a while before we got a fish caught on a dry fly to the boat, this did not diminish the fun. We quickly lost count of the fish caught, let alone the serious takes or the nibbles. It was trout unlimited. Apparently the experiences of our other participants were similar. Duncan went out with an inflatable kayak which developed some problems, so he decided to fish from the shore. After having overwhelming success with the standard wet and dry fly patterns, he tried what he considered less likely patterns. Anything and everything caught fish. He even caught a trout on iris fly, but he thinks it did take a bit longer to get a fish with that one. Brian, fishing from his pontoon boat in the same area, says that whenever he looked in Duncan's direction, Duncan had a fish splashing in front of him. Brian reports that he got at least 25 fish to the boat, not counting the innumerable takes in between. Well, I guess everyone had a whale of a trout time. Trolling, casting, wet flies or dry flies, everything worked. Whoever chose took 4 decent size 11 to 14 inch trout home, and I can assure you they were delicious. Bottom line, overcoming the adversities of the access is worth it. After leaving our local lakes skunked every time during the last year, I am convinced that if the access would be easier, the fishing would be worse.